Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to this final, fast-paced explainer of the multilingual module. We've spent a lot of time dissecting the theories, right? But now we're making that crucial pivot. We are moving directly from theory to sustainable, real-world practice. This is all about making these vital conceptual shifts a permanent, everyday part of your professional identity. Now, there is a central thesis that anchors this entire journey for us, and it's this: multilingualism is not some add-on strategy. It is a structural and ethical orientation shaping teaching, learning, and assessment. I really want to let that sink in for a second. It completely flips the old monolingual assumption on its head. It means bringing diverse languages into our classrooms isn't just a bonus feature. It's not some fun activity you just throw in on a Friday afternoon. It's literally the absolute foundation of equitable education. To get to that action stage, let's quickly retrace our steps. Think back to Unit 1, where we started by rethinking our core assumptions and recognizing the deep, deep value of plurilingual identities. Then, in Unit 2, we really pushed ourselves to create safe environments that provide true cognitive access for newcomers. Unit 3, that gave us the practical tools to design materials for active translanguaging and mediation. And finally, Unit 4 showed us exactly how to align our assessments to guarantee valid, fair learning. Across all these units, we successfully shifted our perspective. We stopped looking at multiple languages as complications, and we started seeing them as the absolute bedrock of inclusion and justice. So to make all of this actually work, we need alignment across 4 crucial layers of your practice. The very first one is your stance. I want you to take a second and honestly reflect on your core beliefs here. Do you inherently view a student's multilingual repertoire as a rich resource to be tapped into? Or deep down, does it feel kind of like a complication you just have to manage? Getting radically honest right here is exactly how you begin to build a truly coherent pedagogical framework. Now, if your stance is that it is a resource, well, that belief has to translate into the second layer, design. Because it's one thing to believe in inclusion, but it's an entirely different thing to actively plan for it. Think about your upcoming lesson plan for a minute. Are your tasks, your reading materials, and your formative assessments intentionally creating space for the different languages your students speak at home? We're looking for deliberate design here, folks, not just a happy accident. And this brilliantly illustrates our third layer, practice. This is where we see the gap that often exists between our perfectly crafted plans and everyday classroom reality. Think about those unscripted moments. When a student suddenly shifts into their home language, say they're speaking Spanish to help a classmate grasp a really tough math concept, how do you react? Do you legitimize that multilingual meaning-making in the moment, or do you quickly redirect them back to English? Because true translanguaging, it thrives in these live, spontaneous interactions. Finally, we hit the fourth layer, and let's be real, it's often the toughest hurdle, evaluation. You might be incredibly inclusive in your daily teaching, but if your grading reinforces strict monolingual norms, like, say, penalizing a student for using a translated term on a science quiz, you are actively undermining all your own hard work. So I challenge you to look critically at how you grade. We absolutely have to ensure that the validity and fairness of our tests aren't being compromised by some hidden monolingual bias. So the crucial point is this. Engaging with multilingualism is an ethical reality. It's a core professional responsibility. It's time to stop treating it like some lofty educational ideal that we only ever discuss in theory. It requires structural alignment. We literally have to embed it into our daily classroom reality. And honestly, that brings us to the most exciting part of this entire module, your capstone project. Now, what's really interesting here is that you have 4 distinct capstone pathways to choose from, and each one demands a concrete translation of theory right into your unique context. Pathway A lets you audit and totally redesign a specific classroom routine. Pathway B asks you to build a brand new mini unit that features active translanguaging. Pathway C, that's for translating a high-level policy into feasible on-the-ground practice. And Pathway D tackles evaluation directly. It challenges you to take a monolingual assessment and innovate it for multilingual validity. That means you'll be looking closely at the washback, basically how the test actually impacts the way your students learn. Regardless of the path you end up choosing, the ultimate goal is growth. We really want to move past those emerging practices, things like surface-level integration or minimal adjustments. The true target here is the expanding practices. Reaching that goal means building a transformative, structurally embedded approach where your assessment is critically robust and your final reflection is forward-looking and highly strategic. This is your roadmap to truly proficient multilingual pedagogy. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final provocative thought.
What feels genuinely realistic to implement right now in your specific classroom? And what still feels like a massive institutional wall you've got to climb? I want you to let that tension fuel your next steps. Take action, trust your expertise, and head over to the forums to select your path. You've got the tools, you've got the theory. So, what are you going to build?